our toddler's with his nana. Our ticking time bomb is on the floor, 10-week-old.
On her playmat.
Yeah.
I'm dying of jet lag. She's been up all night with the baby. Perfect time to film.
Some of you have been with us since our honeymoon phase days. We used to do Q&As a lot. It's been 6 years, 2 kids, 2 weddings.
We had our little registry office COVID wedding and our big fat Irish wedding.
I sobbed like a baby. I think half of it was because out of just sheer relief that we were actually getting married, and then the other half was just, you look so gorgeous. Yeah.
Actually, one of the questions that you sent in on Instagram, where I always get Q&A questions, was what song did you walk down the aisle to? I can show you with the names of the songs on the screen.
Are these all questions to do with the wedding?
No, well, some wedding, some relationship. Mostly relationship. You ready?
Yeah.
Did your relationship feel different after marriage? Quite a few people asked this.
No.
I'd say no as well.
No.
Like, that piece of paper didn't actually change anything about our day-to-day relations. Has our relationship changed since we had kids? Definitely. But we'll get on to that. But yeah, I don't think marriage changed things because we spent so much time together before we got married, like, you know, all day, every day.
She's puking all over your shirt.
Oh, is she?
Baby!
You're back with a sleeping child.
It was a combined effort, breastfeeding, walking her around. Our thoughts on prenups and splitting finances, 50-50 or depending on income.
Well, it never really came up for us because me and Melanie earn about the same amount. So
Yeah.
we've never really had to... It's always been 50-50 naturally. Apart from with my pilot loan, which is for me.
Yeah, we treat our money as our money.
Yeah.
But then there's certain things, like he won't let me pay toward his loan. We run things by each other. I feel like we don't spend money without telling the other person first. Because sometimes I want to buy something and you think it's a waste of money. And, you know, so we share the decision making.
Yeah, we do for the most part. Like,
I'm really bad with money. He's really good with money. So...
Well, yeah. That's a stone cold fact right there.
You know,
yeah, like there's a lot of reasons, like valid reasons to have a prenup. You know, if you have, I don't know, kids from previous marriage and things like that, you've other financial responsibilities that you just want to be locked down if you have quite a lot of assets and quite a lot of money. So there is valid reasons why people do it. It's not, although whenever I think of a prenup, I'm just like, oh, why would you do that? But like,
the way I looked at it when we first got together, I was like, you know, if we got married and then you just left me, I know you're not the type of person who'd be demanding half of my savings.
It's my master plan.
We split the cost on a lot of things. So say we take turns buying food shopping or paying for meals if we go out. But then when it comes to our mortgage and everything, bills, we pay half for
each.
Everything.
But once again, that's because we're in a situation where that is
possible.
Is also fair, you know? So
But
not all the time 50-50 is fair.
It's not always fair, and it definitely
situation.
in the past would have been based on income. Like when Thomas was studying, he wasn't working and I was, and
it's doing the opposite of earning, spending.
We don't currently have a shared bank account. We have our own accounts, and we do, I feel, kind of allot ourselves like a percentage of like I would allot myself a percentage of my monthly income, where I'm like, if I want to buy stuff for myself, you know, but yeah, generally all of our money is just our family money. This is a spicy question. Do you think there's an equal it's not spicy to do with sex. There are questions to that, but do you think there's an equal division of labour in your marriage?
Yes, because the
I
two
think
of us
so too.
never stop.
Yeah.
Ever. From eyes open to eyes closed. There was a time when we used to do lie-ins. We used to like alternate who got a lie-in. Yeah. But then when we had the second child, it's just no one gets a lie-in ever anymore.
The thing to do with this though, I don't think it's like we each do 50% of the housework, 50% of the child rearing stuff, 50% of the workload in terms of earning money. It's we both give all of ourselves. Yeah, if you're away on a work trip, I'm not going to expect you to kind of do 50% of all the things I'm doing while you're gone, and then equally when I'm working.
It's hardly going to be like passive aggressive where you're just going to like put the clothes in the wash, and then I come home like 3 days later, you're just like, the clothes are in the washing, by the way. It's for you to do your half and hang them up. You know, I lived alone for a long time. I'm well able to look after myself. So when me and Melanie moved in together, there was no
I'll be at work all day and I want to come home to a fully cooked dinner every time.
Why aren't my boxers ironed?
We help each other with everything.
And we both try and make time for the other person as well. We both try and say, no, you go, I'll take care of this, you go sit down. And we both do that. Yeah. And we both do as much of the housework as possible, and we both work. So
there's definitely certain things that one of us would do more of. Like, I feel like you end up doing more laundry stuff, or like, you know, the bins, and I do more of like the dishwasher or cleaning the sinks. Like, there's just certain things we would take over more of. But also, like, it's like when I had just had our baby, you were doing nearly everything, you know what I mean? Because I literally was focused completely on like the cluster feeds and stuff. So sometimes one of you will, you know, I think to expect everything to be completely even all the time is a bit naive. What do you tend to argue about or disagree about, or like have different views about the most?
Well, we don't really have like proper like arguments.
No, we don't. When we argue, it's more like bickering, or if we're
it's usually because we're wrecked.
Yeah. No, I feel like if I am very angry, I just go quiet. Or if one of us is very mad at the other person, we tend to like walk out of the room, just be quiet for a while, rather than have like some big. We're not the type of people to have like screamy arguments or anything like that. But the things that we do argue about the most, I feel like that just keep coming up, are the heating. So like how like I like to be boiling at all times, and Thomas
I don't.
Doesn't like to waste loads of money.
If the house is set
wants me to wear more layers.
Yeah, if the thermostat in the house was set at the temperature Melanie would be comfortable at, I would be sitting on the couch naked, sweating. We have very different internal body thermostats.
I think it's more to do with money, because money is the next one. I think money. We would argue about money in the sense that, you know, I want to buy brass light switches for the sitting room, and you know, we have perfectly good
brand new switches,
plain white ones that I just think are a bit ugly. Stupid stuff like that. Sometimes I get my way, other times we have to compromise.
Yeah.
And I think that's normal, but we would be broke if it was just me married to me. Are there ever times where you feel disconnected from each other, and what do you do to reconnect?
I don't know about you, but I don't know if I ever actively feel disconnected from you, but I do feel disconnected in general because I'm so wrecked, and I'm just walking around, and I'm basically, the eyes are glazed over, and I'm cleaning, and I'm changing nappies, and I'm making dinner, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. I would count that
though. Like I would count that in that, like, I feel way more connected to you when we have like a date.
Yeah. You know? Or even just like half an hour.
Even if we do get to just sit and watch a show together and cuddle, you know, I feel. But the best like marriage advice I wasn't like told, but I saw it in this video of these like old couples who were married a long time, and they said, one of the couples said about, if you're not feeling in the mood, to still go up to the other person and just like hug them, because it's so easy to kind of take the other person for granted, but like little things in the day like that make a huge difference.
Do you two get alone time, if you know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean.
I don't know what you mean.
Do you mean going to the bathroom? Because no.
I don't remember the last time I took a shite alone. I don't know when I've last washed alone. There's always someone there. We can obviously like schedule out alone time, but it's just really hard. It's a lot harder now. It doesn't just present itself.
Yeah.
Opportunities for that are like, they're few and far between, and usually when we do have a chance we choose sleep.
Yeah, we have a little cuddle and a sleep. Or maybe we watch 20 minutes of an episode of Vikings and then go to bed.
It's the season of life, my friends.
It's the season, yeah.
It's small kids. Like, it affects things, and people like to act like it doesn't. It's very hard to understand how you'd be okay with that when you don't have small kids, because the thought of that used to terrify me, just not having much time for sexy times. And I think it's terrifying when you're, when you don't have children, but like then when you do have children, the sleep deprivation affects your libido, affects your time, and back on the mat. But yeah, how I feel about that is not how past me would have felt about it.
I think what helps is kind of we both understand the situation. Like when we went away there last week for our anniversary, we had to bring Ren with us, and we both went into it fully with the knowledge, like, this is not going to be hyper romantic night away for your anniversary. It's going to be make the most of it with a baby.
When you add children into the mix, you can't just expect your life to be exactly as it was. There's hormones going on. There's so much going on, and yeah, it is a season.
And everybody's situation is completely different. Depending on how much time you get for that will depend on your working situation. How many kids do you have?
Childminding situation, childcare.
How are you parenting those kids? Even are they on bottle or are they on boob? Are they, are you bed sharing or are they in their own room? It'll all add up, and at the end of it, we'll give you a number of how many times you get to be alone with your partner in a year.
On this subject, thoughts on keeping it spicy?
Oh yeah, keeping it spicy. If you're parenting the way we're parenting, and in the situation that we are in, I can't imagine many moments where, Melanie's trying to cook the dinner for one child. I've been walking her around for the past half an hour. Melanie's dad's in the kitchen doing what he's doing. We're both wrecked. We're both haven't washed in days, and I'm just up and I'm just like, you want to try out this new kink?
Perfect time to try out, dog collars and that secret sex dungeon we've built in the attic.
So my thoughts on keeping it spicy,
We don't.
I'm sure someday we will, once again.
That side of me, anyway, it's like there. It's just like in a little box, and I'm like crying inside the box, and I want to be out of the box.
If we get an hour or two where the two of us aren't completely wrecked, then that box just will open.
Yeah.
But,
it's just not every couple of times a week like it used to be.
Sometimes you can't just pry that box open, because there may be little hands that will come and say,
close it.
What? No!
Play toys!
Hit her back!
She's thinking!
Go downstairs!
Please!
Stop crying! God damn it!
I'm really struggling with my marriage since my baby was born last year. Any advice? So there's a statistic that a fifth of couples actually split in the first 12 months after a baby's born.
That's not advice. Or maybe it is.
Don't be that 1 in 5.
Yeah.
No, so the reasons behind that are like more consistent arguing. The sex thing is a big thing, like just less sex and a lack of communication. So I think like the first thing you can do is to just focus on talking, really, really being very vulnerable and talking. 'Cause we don't hold anything back. I know everyone's like, communication is key, but it really, really, really is important.
Communication is key, but it is.
Really is. More advice would be to just like expect less, like both of you expect less of your romantic life right now. It's not like the movies and the shit you see on Instagram where everything is. I've even said this myself, like recently on Instagram, that I don't want people to like take a glimpse at my feed and think that is representative of my day-to-day life. Like, oh my god, it's not. People share moments that, you're watching a film and it's, the couple are like this super sexy couple and they've also got the 3 kids and, they're always like, I definitely think couples counselling as well is worth the time. We did a little bit of counselling before we got married. together, and I just think that helps with learning how to communicate when you're having issues with that.
Yeah.
Because I think as well, it's just a really scary time, and you're really opening yourself up and really being seen in ways that you maybe have never been seen by your partner, and it's scary, and you're just like, oh, you're gonna run away and leave me, and you pull away from them, and like there's a lot going on during that phase. It's really hard.
Everybody's situation is different, so trying to give advice is difficult, but I don't know. What I would say is, going back to my previous point, is when you have a kid or multiple kids, based on your working situation, your partner's working situation, how you're parenting, and then also just how much money do you have. Can you hire a nanny, a childminder, a cook, a second nanny,
a cleaner?
Like, all those things are going to decide how much of a massive change that is.
Any tips on keeping the spark alive? I feel like that kind of goes along with that last question, but like when we are alone and we're not exhausted, the spark is there. Yeah. But it's like the rest of the time, it's like our eyes, like my eyes are like closed and I just can't see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When we're not at 0% battery and we're given half an hour of even moderate alone time, it appears. So
I miss you.
I'd say
I miss you even though you're here. It's weird to miss someone who you share a bed with and you live with, but I do miss you because when we are on our own, it's so fun. Oh
my god.
Was that a sneeze? We do have fun with the kids as well. It's just different. It's not like us, like our own little bubble.
Yeah, if you're talking about sparky type stuff, just allow yourself time to
find
I'm
it
sure
again.
It's there
and
again.
People change while you're married, you know, like over the course of a marriage you're going to change so much. Are you going to grow together? Are you going to grow in different directions? But that is really cool because, you know, some people think of settling down with one person as being really boring, but that's a new person every 5 years, every 10 years. You're getting to know them all the time. And I feel like our connection has deepened in the sense that after we had our daughter, that was the most connected I ever felt to you in those couple of weeks. Do you not remember that? Like we were so I just felt so close to you after that. It's not like getting with one person is just like the end of that kind of feeling. It's just different. It's not like the thing where you just meet someone and they're all shiny and new. But that feeling does crop up again and again. Yeah. When I see you in new, like when I first saw you being a dad, like that was like, ooh, like you know what I mean? And just different, seeing your partner in lots of different situations and stuff. So I do think, like that's why it's very hard when you have small kids because you have so much routine and that routine can be very monotonous. So as life goes on, trying to make sure that your day-to-day is like different, going to different restaurants and different trips and, you know, mixing things up.
Hang on, even just trying a new recipe.
Even when I see you in some new clothes, it's just like...
Which is rare.
It is rare.
I've probably worn this shirt in like
10 videos. I didn't want to answer this, but there were so many questions about would we open our marriage or thoughts on open marriages and stuff like that. I feel like we answered it before in that we wouldn't, but I just want to expand on it by saying, like, if you think things are messy right now with the 2 kids and just 2 of us, imagine more people that you had to accommodate and fit into your schedule. Like, more people is more messy, more emotions, way more complication. And I do remember reading that open marriages have a very high failure rate. Like, I've been in open relationships in the past, longest one being 9 months, and I felt it was just too hard to be really honest with those people because you're not it's not just like a little cocoon of the 2 of you know what I mean? And it didn't feel sturdy. I don't know how to put that into words, but like I've tried it, and I've also realized that in open relationships, like it doesn't protect you from, you know, being cheated on, and because people still lie, even when they're given, you know, everything's free. Tom's just over there holding Baba. But yeah, I think it was like a self-protection mechanism for me, in the sense that, like, in the past I'd either been betrayed or rejected or whatever, and I felt like, oh well, if I just act like I'm completely fine with whatever partner it was being with other people and stuff, then I can't get hurt because, you know, I'm all loosey-goosey. But it's not a good reason to go along with that situation. Like, if it's genuinely what you want, that's different. But, like, I think I was trying to tell myself it was. I think I even made a video about, like, I'm trying out polyamory. You don't try out polyamory. Like, you either are or you aren't polyamorous. And I explored whether or not I was, and I'm not. I'm very much a monogamous person, and you are, like, the most monogamous person I've ever met. I used to say to you, like, would you ever have a threesome or whatever? And you were just like, no.
Yeah, I just find it confusing. I don't know. It's maybe I'm just boring that way. I don't get it.
It's not boring.
Because the actual question is, would we open up our marriage? And even like, I don't know how we. Don't know how we do that. Imagine like the first time
Imagine
in 2
how
weeks.
weird they think we are.
Imagine the first time in 2 weeks we have a spare hour, and I'm like, do you want to go for dinner? You're like, no, remember I have plans with me mom. And I'm like, oh,
okay.
But that's just.
How do you stay not frustrated at the no us time and like it's just family time and stuff like that? We are frustrated.
Yeah, we are frustrated. It's okay.
Life is not perfect, and you're allowed to be frustrated. You can have everything, but not all at once. It's my new favourite quote. How do you deal with the need for alone/me time? Like, you're really good with giving me that. You know, he calls it mammy must have time, and he'll just like make sure I can go and have a bath by myself the odd time. I do feel like you get more of that than I do, just because like you get to commute to work alone and, you know, go get a coffee while you're at work alone.
Oh, great. I get to drive in traffic.
Oh, no,
Class.
I'm sorry. Any other like stay-at-home parents listening, what would you give to just be able to just listen to music or a podcast in a car with no kids shouting or climbing on you or sucking your boob? Thoughts on the view of marriage as unfeminist because of its roots in religion and the patriarchy?
So this is
a heavy question.
I don't know how to answer that.
I obviously don't think marriage is unfeminist because I'm married and I'd consider myself a feminist. Marriage is thousands of years old, and it wasn't originally about religion. Definitely not. It predates that, but it wasn't about love either. And like, we got married based on what marriage means nowadays and what it means to us, I think. Yeah, like marriage, what it means has just changed a lot over time. I understand what the person means in that, you know, it used to be kind of about ownership of women. It was more about like men ensuring that their babies were their babies, because obviously if a baby comes out of your vagina, you know it's yours. But back in the day when they didn't have DNA testing and stuff, it's only been really about like, you know, picking someone that you fit well with, like where it's not like a practical setup. Like that's very new anyway. And
yeah,
us getting married was very much.
Yeah, I think there was another question in there. What was it? It was like, why?
Or why do we believe in marriage?
Why do we believe in marriage? And I would just say it feels nice.
Yeah, I was really digging him on this. I was like, really though, like, why do you believe in marriage, Thomas? He was like, it just feels nice.
Yeah, it does feel nice. That's a
good enough answer.
That's a legitimate reason to do anything, is that it feels nice. And yeah, a lot of the legal benefits and that type of a thing from marriage you can get through a will and other channels. The tax benefits you can't. So yeah, tax benefits and nice
feels
feelings.
Nice.
Yeah.
In your wedding budget, what cost you the most? Do you think it was worth it? Our venue was definitely the most expensive thing, but I do think it was worth it because it was for 4 nights and it housed a lot of people, so all of our family could stay there as well.
And it wasn't
actually that bad.
As weddings go, as weddings go in Ireland, it wasn't that bad. What we were charged for 4 nights was less than what a lot of places would charge you for 1 night. So.
Ballybeg, in case you're wondering, Ballybeg House in Wicklow.
Ballybeg House in Wicklow.
Beautiful venue. I'll do a couple of wedding questions. Saving for the perfect wedding versus eloping and spending it on a grand honeymoon instead.
You know, I know people who just bored the idea of standing up in front of, you know, a couple hundred people and doing XYZ, so they just went off and got married and had a big honeymoon, and that was the end of it. So you do you. Do people still say that?
Well, we picked wedding because we wanted, it was very much for us about our family and all being there. That's why we ended up having like a second wedding, because our first one was lovely and we were married, but there was only a couple of our family members at it, and we wanted to have like the big, we're saying this in front of everyone we know, we're making a big commitment in front of everyone.
You see loads of people you haven't seen in ages.
Big party.
Loads of friends and family who'd never otherwise meet each other, having a big party and having the crack, and you know, a bit of nice food.
For us, that was very much about everyone else, more so even than us, because like the day for me, I found it quite stressful because I was still breastfeeding like a toddler, and it was just mad. Like it was mad, and it's a lot of stress on the bride and groom. I know loads of people who've gotten married and they barely remember the day. That's why I'm so glad we got a videographer. I'm so glad we have a wedding video. Like that's one thing.
If you're gonna elope or if you're gonna have a big wedding, get someone to hold a camera. That's all. That's my advice to you.
Yeah.
Other than that, just do whatever.
Yeah. Have you ever been afraid to have the worst breakup of your life if something goes wrong?
Goes wrong?
Like our marriage or relationship. I've never ever once had the thought that we would break up.
Yeah, I think this goes back to what people were saying when they were like, "Oh, does it feel different after you get married?" Certain people, I think it does. Maybe a lot of people it does, but for us personally, it didn't feel different at all. And I think it was just me and Melanie knew each other a long time before we even started going out. So when we started going out, we were basically just locked in this thing already.
Yeah.
It's just that's the way it felt for me anyway. We were just like,
we
got engaged, we were like, yay, but we were like, we were already married in our heads, you know.
Yeah. We both have very similar like wants out of life. We both really value family, and both had just similar goals in general, and like a lot of the same stuff, and it just felt right, and I just can't imagine us ever breaking up. Like it just doesn't. Do you think love is a choice you have to make every day? I love the saying love is a verb. Like it's not a feeling, it's an action. Like it's like in your actions. Like we love each other, as in we treat each other with love rather than like I like you a lot. Like, you know, like being in love and that kind of fuzzy, like I don't think of that as love, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like love is like just pure devotion and like not necessarily what's the word? Unconditional. I definitely have unconditional love for my children, but I don't think we have unconditional love for each other, because there should be conditions. Like we do have conditions.
Yeah, we have conditions. Like, you know, the usual ones.
Don't hit me.
Just don't hurt me. In any sense of the word.
We're gonna have to put you asleep. If you were to change anything about the first 3 years of your marriage, no COVID. That would have been great.
Yeah, no COVID.
No pandemic.
Is that something that I can do?
No. Right, we'll just do one more because our Baba really needs a sleep, and she got like a 5-minute nap there a while ago. What has marriage taught you about your past self, like your unmarried self?
That I'm a lot more like my dad than I thought, in a good way.
That's so true. You are very like your dad. I knew I wanted this. Like I wanted the feeling that comes with just like being completely committed to someone and sharing a life with them, but I was so scared that I would never have that or couldn't have it, that I tried really hard to make myself act differently or be different with people to not scare them away, or I think my past self was a bit full of shit, basically. I was bullshitting myself in a lot of ways, I think, and I'm just really, really happy that you married me.
Oh yeah.
I love being married to thee. I really do. He's so great. I'm so lucky.
I'm lucky. Yeah.
So I'm sorry if I was playing with my fringe. He always tells me not to get a fringe cut again because he knows I'll hate it. Like you always say you like me with a fringe, but I don't like me with a fringe, and so that I shouldn't get one. And
yeah,
then
I've experienced you with a fringe and without a fringe, and just Fringe Melanie is just constantly on the fringe of madness because it's always either too long or it's too short or it's greasy or it's dry or you have to spend
Right, we're
ages
ending
silent.
this video. Goodbye, goodbye, good friends.
We're so
goodbye.
lucky this clock is
And
broken.
now